First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushai is to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Bahashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Quadash means holy. And that's on the Paleo Hebrew. I also want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's video, I want to talk about the kingdom of heaven and what exactly is it. So, when you always were in the church, many of us grew up in the church, people talked about heaven. You got to do the right thing so when you die, you go to heaven. But they will never specify, what that heaven is. Now, when you do the research, you start going into the scriptures, you realize that what they're referring to is the kingdom of heaven. Okay? That's what they're referring to. Okay? And the kingdom of heaven is going to be a rulership here on earth that is the Israelites, okay, ruling the entire earth. That's the kingdom of heaven. And I'm going to read that in Daniel chapter 2. So here you got the divine kingdom. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Right? And that's the divine kingdom, the kingdom of heaven. Heaven, as people say. Okay, and there's a difference between, the spiritual world where everybody goes, whether you're wicked or righteous. Everybody dies and goes to the Father. Okay, that's just the spirit world. Now, when it comes to heaven, the kingdom of heaven, it's going to be a kingdom that's not left to other people because it's going to be only the Israelites, and it's going to stand forever, right? Eternity. And the reason is because the people, the Israelites, that are going to be ruling are going to be immortal and are going to be essentially gods upon this earth. Okay, the Lord is going to give his people new bodies, immortal bodies, that have the law, statutes, and commandments inside of them. So that's part of the kingdom, okay, is complete righteousness, peace, and immortality. Now, when you go into, the description of the kingdom, it would look something similar to this. Right? Not exactly like this, but something magnificent like this. Okay, and the kingdom is talked about in Revelation, the 21st chapter. Now I'm going to read a little bit here. It says, it says, Revelation chapter 21 and verse 10, it says, "He carried me away in the spirit to a great and a high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God. And her light was like unto stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof." Okay, and it starts going into the classification, how many. I'll just read it. It says, "And the city lieth foursquare, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass." Right? So walls of jasper, which jasper is a precious stone. Okay, and it says that the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass, right? Straight golden kingdom. It says, "And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper." Let's see what that looks like. Oh, we just read that. Jasper. The second, sapphire. So you got that, bluish color. The third, a chalcedony. So whitish, bluish. Man, look at that. Beautiful. And the thing about these stones is that it's been shown that these stones come with energy. They literally right here. Witchcraft, balance, energy, meditation. Right? So the same way that, a lot of people use the stones for the left hand side and for witchcraft, you can use it on the right hand side, okay, for righteous purposes. Okay, it all goes into the intent, right? And this right here shows you all the stones: onyx, agate, amethyst, jasper. You know, this is everything that's gonna be in the kingdom, literally building up the kingdom. The fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx. I want to see what that looks like. Sardonyx, right? Kind of looks like a rock, but the way that it has those curves. Look at this one, man. That right there shows you that there's a creator. That ain't no coincidence. The sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was one of pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold, as they were transparent glass. Right, so the streets of the city are going to be pure gold. Okay, imagine that. Okay, and this is a little example of how it's going to be. Pure gold. You can see all these depictions here. So, hey, beautiful. Beautiful, and gives you a little, perspective of what is appointed to the Israelites. Okay, what the Lord has in store for his people. And the Most High talked about how even though he would tell us what he's going to give us, it's still going to top that. We can't possibly imagine how it's going to be. The Lord, he just goes above and beyond. So, it's an exciting thing, reading those types of scriptures. And ultimately, puts it in perspective as to why you're doing this thing, why you're having faith. The kingdom. Now, a couple more things about that. The kingdom is that we're going to be in rulership. Okay? And we can read that here in Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 14. I'll start at verse 12. It says, "For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted." Right? So we're going to be the ones on top. And if a nation doesn't want to serve us, they're going to be destroyed. Okay? And that's just the point. It's going to be straight to the point just like that. Verse 18, "Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise." Right? Straight peace. It says, "A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh, will hasten it in his time." And that's beautiful. Okay, the smallest Israelite is going to become 1,000. Okay, multiply. Right? Because, a man is going to be, with multiple women as the Lord has created it. Okay, a man is going to have multiple women to procreate and build a giant nation. And, this is going to be beautiful because everybody's going to be in the right mind. Okay, the women are not going to be out here jealous, hating the other wives, just, having that envy. No, they're all going to get together and, they're going to understand the righteous reason as to, the so-called polygamy. A man having more than one woman. It's for nation building. So it says, "A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation." So, hey, there's going to be, lineages of you. Okay, it's going to be, oh yeah, I go back to one of the first. I go back to Carlos, and just imagine that, 1,000 generations down, be tracing it all the way, to the top, and never ending, generations to go and to go and to go. You could read these things and it's like, it's insane, trying to put it into your brain and really comprehend what's written. Just because we've been in this lowest state for so long, being at the bottom of society, at the bottom of the world, for so long that we forgot what rulership tastes like. But soon it will come back, right? Yahweh will hasten it in his time. We can read this here in Isaiah 14 also. It says, "For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Right? So, all these nations that have done us wrong, all these nations that have had us captives, we're going to take them captives, and we're going to rule over our oppressors. Okay, starting with these Edomites. And they're going to be unto us as servants and handmaids. Okay, slaves. Okay, workers, employees. And hey, they got no say so. They're going to be put to work for 1,000 years, 1,000 years of slavery. And after those 1,000 years, the nations are going to be able to do their own thing. They're essentially going to be released and have their own, free will. There's no such thing as free will, if you know, but you know what I mean. They're going to be able to do their own thing. And that is the condition for the other nations except the Edomites. Okay, it talks about how the Edomites are going to be done away with. Okay, genocide. The Lord is not going to leave one Edomite alive. Go read Obadiah chapter 1. And that's going to happen after the 1,000 years. Right, so when it talks about how no mercy was shown to Esau, even, no place of repentance was shown to Esau, it was talking about that. Okay, the Edomites are going to be annihilated. Thus saith the Lord. So, let's get this in Isaiah 11, going into a part of that piece, is even the animals. Right, it says this in verse 6 in Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 6. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fowling together, and the little child shall lead them. Right, because we're gonna go back to how it used to be, how the animals used to obey us. Right, when you go into one of the curses that the Most High brought upon His people was that the animals were gonna hate us. Okay, they were gonna have fear of us. Let's read that in Genesis. Genesis 9. Genesis chapter 9 and verse 2 it says, And the fear of you, let's start at verse 1. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. Right, so at one point, the animals used to fear us, okay, and they used to obey us. But, right here, somebody asked, were animals not afraid of people before the flood? This seems to indicate there's a different relationship between people, animals after the flood, right? So, yeah, were animals not afraid of people before the flood? Okay, and the answer is no, they weren't. Okay, we were all in unison. So, how do you think Noah was able to get those animals into the ark? So, we're going to go back to that. Complete peace. And it says, And the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockroach's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea. Right, so there's going to be complete peace upon the earth. And even the animals are going to be playing with the children. That's a part of the kingdom. Now, another part that I always found interesting was how the Lord's going to have the chariots look over us. This is Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 4 says, When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment, and by the spirit of burning, and Yahweh would create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion, and upon her assemblies, a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense. Right, so upon every single dwelling place, there's going to be, the clouds and a shining flaming fire. And when you go into, what the cloud is going into those chariots, so-called UFOs. Okay, an example of that is Acts, the first chapter, showing you that the clouds reference something else. Acts chapter 1 and verse 8, it says, This is Yahushua talking. It says, "And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight." Right. So he was talking, and a cloud picked him up. Is it talking about an actual cloud? No, it's talking about a vehicle. Now I wonder what the Greek says here. Right, a cloud, used of the cloud which led the Israelites in the wilderness. There you go. Okay, showing you it's not a actual cloud. The Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven. What are the clouds of heaven? The angels. So we're gonna have our personal angels overlooking us. It says, "And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain." Right, so straight protection. That's another part of the kingdom. Now, let's get this in Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 24 says, "And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." Right, so hey, the Lord's gonna give us everything we want. Okay, even before we ask, He's already gonna answer. He's already gonna give it to us. So imagine that. That's why it says in Revelation also that He's gonna wipe away all tears from Israel, right? Because we're no longer gonna have a reason to be, crying or down and out, because we're gonna have everything we've ever wanted at the blink of an eye, instantaneously, right? You want woman, He'll give you woman. You want animals, He'll give you animals. You want a food, a buffet of foods you never tried. You want the Lord to create new foods, you know, new creatures. He'll do it. So it's gonna be literally our playground. Okay, we're gonna have a an immortal lifetime to explore all these universes forever and forever, forever. That's why the Lord is expanding the heavens. That's why the scientists have realized that the universe, is just constantly expanding and it keeps on growing. That's the Lord. Okay, He's building out the playground for the Israelites. All those planets and galaxies and and suns and Milky Ways and all that is for the Israelites. So, hey, just imagine how much more is in store that He hasn't even talked about. I'll just leave it there. So, hopefully this is edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of great millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, like Shalom.